Good morning, this is the Eager Beaver Show.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters, CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. Well, good morning and hello, kids, and welcome to season 3 and episode number 361 of the delayed Daily Beaver Morning Show here on the Crier Media Network. Yay! And thanks for your patience. I'm your host, the Eager Beaver, pronouns he, him, hey, Mr. Beaver, eh? And today recording day is Tuesday, April 16th, 2024. Tech gremlins kind of got the best of us, but we remained calm. We carried on. Mr. Grizzly got the problem fixed, and here we are. And as Kit Michael says, a delayed beaver is better than no beaver.
Well, this is true. My apologies.
No need to apologize.
Well, no, it's like the Wi-Fi. I'm like, why is my Wi-Fi router dead? So I reset it multiple times. I looked at the cable modem, and it's like showing everything performing correctly. And I used to install this stuff, so it's like, whatever. Okay, let's reset the modem. Let's reset the router. Still not working multiple times. So finally, I just said, I'm just going to patch this computer directly into the modem and reset it again. And still wouldn't work. Reset it a third time. Fourth time? I don't know. And all of a sudden, oh, okay, it's working, but it's taking a minute to clear the cache on everything. And anyway, it was a very frustrating start to my day. Not how I wanted my day to start.
A big thank you goes to our podcast funding sponsors, the Peppermaster, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and CanadianTarot.com. We'll have a little nibble for you today. But I want to ask how your mental health is doing today, but it seems that it's okay. You saved the day.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good, actually.
Yeah, okay. Because trust me, if it wasn't for Mr. Grizzly and finding able to fix the problem, I wouldn't be here right now. So,
well, Bridget suggested, she says, could you do it from your phone? I'm like, yes, I can, but it's not, it's not ideal.
No.
It's one of those things like if I can get everything set up on the computer, I can transfer to my phone. That's easy. But to run the whole show and start one from the phone, yes, you can do it. It's really scronkly, to say the least. It's less than an ideal situation.
Get Toronto dances, spank the top of your head, Paul. You'll feel better. Mademoiselle Fox, morning all. There was some cussing at Mr. Grizzly's studio this morning.
About that.
There was no cussing at the Beaver Lodge, but there was a lot of like, huh? Because I mean, let's put it this way: it's like we're getting close to 4 years having done this.
Yeah,
and very, 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 very rare are the times that I belly up to the computer and he's not already here.
I usually have this ready to roll by 6:30, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And this morning, had things been working, that would have been the case. I went and took Lola out for a walk. We were out for about 30 minutes. She saw some squirrels, met some dogs, brought her back in. I sat down. I started to do some work, and I'm like, why is everything just lagging? And then I pick up my phone and I look at it and I go, oh yeah, the Wi-Fi's out. Great. So proceeded from there. But here we are. And today, of course, is Big Budget Day.
Budget day. It's budget day. It's budget day. It's budget day. It's budget day. And, of course, for the occasion.
You've got the top hat, too.
Well, yes. And there goes. Why is my camera? That's the second time in a couple of days that my camera goes all fuzzy every time. Hold on, let's try to do that.
That usually can work. Do the 3D House of Pancakes. Go real close with your face.
Here I am, the 3D Beaver. Ooh. There. Kind of.
Almost.
Okay, let's give it some time.
Slowly back away.
I see you. Look at all the people down there. They look like ants.
It's very disturbing. It
does not want to cooperate.
It's just the kind of day we're having, right?
Clearly.
All the tech gremlins. All the tech gremlins are going to be haunting us today, it seems. That's okay.
All right. That's okay.
We'll muster through. Look, it's better to have...
I'll do a quick jump in and out and see if that works for me.
Yeah, okay. It's better to have a show with, a couple of niggly things here. Niggly? Is niggly a word? Niggly? Problematic? Wonky? Borky? When things go borky, when things bork, sometimes that's okay as long as we still are able to function properly. So there, see, that worked.
Success.
Adjust your mic there. There you go.
When in doubt, reboot. Or log back in, or jiggle it, or give it a whack, or whatever.
Here's my top hat.
There you go.
Yes.
Okay, let's see if that happens twice now. No, it doesn't. Good. Okay.
Yes,
matching top hats. There we go.
Should I go get my bow tie as well? I have a red bow tie.
Bow tie and monocle.
I have a monocle. Yes. And a bow tie.
So it's budget day.
If anybody just tunes in right now, they're like,
a little dusty.
Are they wearing top hats? Well, yes. Yes, we are. Wearing top hats.
Yes. There we go. Because the kids demand glamour. So, kiddies, today we have the budget. See? There's going to be lots of money talking about, see?
So W.C. Fields, for those of you who don't know. Look him up. Look him up.
I'm going to take my windfall and go build a house on Boardwalk or Park Place.
I'm a little chickadee.
Just missing monocles, says Miss Shatika. Mr. Grizzly has one, by the way.
I don't know where it is right now. It's stuffed in the drawer with the rest of my Sir Black's outfit.
Yes, reminds me, we haven't had a visit from Percival lately.
Well, Sir Blacks would like to come by and say hello for this morning. You do understand, of course, Sir Blacks was born in Canada post-Confederation, 1868, you see. So I am a Canadian citizen, you see. And we do like to attend the Canadian Rugby Football Union matches at the Lansdowne Park. Or they call it something else. I think today it's called TD Place. They've named it after a financial institution, which I think is rather strange, But anyway, myself and Sir Reds, we like to attend the Red Blacks matches. And they are starting off on June 30th this year.
Ooh, that's a lovely day.
Well, and there's going to be a rock and roll outfit that will play before the show, at halftime, and have fireworks. And the name of the outfit
is a good outfit.
Big Wreck will be playing at the live show. So I'm quite looking forward to that, as I have seen those minstrels play in the past, and they are wonderful musicians who put on a very outstanding show.
Well, a train wreck always loves a good big wreck.
Well, yes.
Would you like some tea? Maybe a little cookie for dunking?
Crumpet, perhaps.
I have a bit of croquante for you.
Well.
Nom, 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 nom. All right, enough silliness. Timmy G. Oliver twist vibes.
All right. Let's just take that off.
Please, kids, may I have some more? Ooh. Yes. See, we are classy critters.
Can't seem to get it here.
All right, kids and cubs. Today is indeed a budget day.
Yeah.
Madame Christia Freeland has purchased her new shoes, as is the tradition. She got herself
As is
every
tradition.
pair of black leather shoes that were fabricated or manufactured by millennial sisters in Montreal who have started a direct to home fashion or shoe company.
Oh.
That is the reason for that, of course, is because the focus and the target of this government is Generation Z, as Mr. Grizzly likes to say, and millennials. Yes, the McGuire Shoe Company is the company in question to which she gave a little bit of visibility. Hopefully, their business numbers will go up a little bit. But yes, polling seems to be indicating that Gen Z and millennials are at least flirting with voting conservatives. So they are looking to have a budget chock full of measures, particularly with regard to home ownership, that will appeal to that generation. Today, also later on, inflation numbers will be coming out this morning. In the United States, inflation did go up recently, and if you have any investments in the stock market, you will have noticed over the past couple of days that the stock market kind of went crazy. I think the TSX has dropped over 1,000 points over like the last 3 or 4 days, but that's all on the basis that because inflation went up 0.4% in the United States, that potentially the Federal Reserve there will slow down or delay interest rate cuts in the United States and may even delay them until sometime next year. In Canada, it is expected that rates will stay relatively stable. It might, last time it came in at 2.8%. They're thinking, some economists are saying it might go up to 3%, given the price of gas had gone up a little bit in the month of March. Economists are saying that it likely accelerated, but not enough to throw the Bank of Canada off course. The marketings are forecasting that it went from 2.8 to 3, but the 2.8 was a surprise slowdown that nobody had expected last month. In Canada, if the jump isn't as high, because the difference with the United States is that unemployment in the United States is still going down, whereas in Canada over the last year it's gone up 1 point. So the Bank of Canada is looking for slightly rising unemployment with inflation within a certain range over a certain amount of time, and then they will announce a rate cut, which everybody's expecting will still happen in June. As we mentioned on the previous show, though, the governor of the Bank of Canada, when he made his policy rate announcement a few days ago, went through great pains to try to give himself a whole bunch of wiggle room as to the date of an interest rate cut. After he was finished making his announcement, the first journalist just said, so will there be an interest rate cut in June? And I was like, oh, goddamn, work with me here, people. So, and people did not work with him. And then he had to say that it is not outside of the realm of possibilities. It was about as precise as he could get. But the context for the inflation numbers, as we mentioned on yesterday's show, today will frame some of the conservative response. If inflation goes up 0.2% to 3%, then Pierre Poilievre is going to be blaming the budget, which obviously is ridiculous because, I mean, the budget hasn't even tabled yet. And then, as we mentioned on a previous show, while they were doing their main estimates, the supplementary estimates still have to go through committee and be voted on and whatnot. And then the money, after the vote, then the money actually has, everybody has to get the okay to actually spend the money, and then money actually has to start being spent. So, I mean, this is not going to happen for a while yet, right? So to try to represent that today's budget raised the inflation, or the spending announced in this budget raised the inflation. No, inflation is things that actually did happen. Right, it measures stuff that did happen. So just don't be fooled on that, because if there's an increase in any way whatsoever, he's going to go, see. there is a lot of different statements all over the former Bank of Canada Governor David Dodge, and I probably should take a little look to see who it was that appointed David Dodge, if it was a conservative or liberal appointee. And I'm not saying that because I'm saying that they're necessarily in the bag, but usually if a prime minister gets to choose a governor of the Bank of Canada, they're somewhat, hopefully, aligned overall with what they meant, even though they don't get any direction. Let's see. No, he was appointed in 2001, so it definitely was not. That was a Chrétien Martin appointment. He is among the more pessimistic of the ones out there. He is one of the people that is really, really, really not for an increase in taxes on the wealthy or on businesses. Everybody is making the same statement that we hear all our lives. Oh my God, you can't raise taxes, not even 0.1% on the wealthy or the business, or else they'll take all their employment and bring it offshore to another nation, and
No, they won't.
The earth will stop turning, gravity will stop, and we'll all go fly off.
I had a friend a couple of years ago. We had a conversation around something just like that, and we were talking about a particular large airline, particular large carrier in Canada, the one that's in the air from Canada. And he said, and this was an individual who used to sign the checks, like was involved heavily with the budget from a very high level. And he said point blank, let them fail. He says, we shouldn't bail them out. He says, we shouldn't let them fail. He says, and of course everybody goes, well, people are going to lose their jobs. He goes, and we have a social safety net to take care of them. They will get some payments. And then I guarantee you another company will come in and fill the place of that one. Because if there is no big carrier, it's a gap. The gap will be filled. Somebody will come in. There was an economist in 2008 who said, let all the car companies fail. Let them fail.
Yep.
Because what, you think we're never going to have cars again? You think somebody's not going to come in and fill that gap? All the cars still have to be made. People still need them. Industry needs them. So, yeah, sometimes we just need to let those things fall flat on their face. And of course, every time and this guy, by the way, this guy is a lifelong liberal, not a con, lifelong liberal. And he said, let them fail. So the cons will be threatening with, they're just going to leave. It's like, no, they won't. And if they do, who cares?
Yeah.
There's a gap in the market. If they leave, somebody will fill that gap.
Nature abhors a vacuum.
Well, I mean,
no, but seriously, yeah.
And somebody needs to make the widgets.
Yeah. The only exact, and when they say, I mean, I'm not all for just letting the whole industry fail. But if there happens to be nothing in the budget for Post Media that had terrible second quarter results, revenue. Second quarter operating results. Revenue for the quarter was $97.3 million as compared to $111.8 million in the same period the prior year, representing a decrease of $14.5 million. The revenue decrease was primarily due to decreases in advertising revenue and circulation revenue, partially offset by increases in parcel revenue. So in other words, Post Media, maybe the fact that over the course of 1 year, your revenues dropped by greater than 10% might be a sign that you're producing a trash product that nobody wants to either read or advertise in. Maybe it's your business model. Maybe it's your content. So yeah, I would definitely have no problem with the federal government letting that one die. But yes, normally, yes, let the entire auto industry die is probably not a smart move. No. So David Dodge specifically, speaking cars, Dodge, but is very, very, very negative, saying that the federal budget is likely to be the worst in years. So conservatives will be quoting him left, right, and center.
Oh yes, yeah. Right. Something he hasn't seen yet, and he already's like that was years ago. I lost a lot of respect for Jack Layton when he pulled that stunt with Harper. Look,
Yeah.
I was no fan of Harper, but he just said, I'm voting against it because it's Stephen Harper's budget, so I know it'll be bad. It's like, dude, you haven't read it yet.
Yep. Well, this one is
Cool.
like there will be a tax increase of some kind on someone. And Christopher Freeland, as we mentioned yesterday, targeted, like this, if you're middle class one, it's not going to be you. So it's obviously going to be the rich, or it's going to be a wealth tax or a tax on excess profits or something like that. And then, of course, it's like, oh my God, you can't tax business. Oh, it goes, well, yeah, actually we can, and just watch us. So it's like, you'll cope. Business people, you'll cope. Rich people, I'm sure you'll muddle through somehow.
You'll be all right.
Somehow, you might have to slip your accountant an extra $5,000 or $10,000 to find for him or her to find a loophole for you to get out of it. But I'm sure you'll survive somehow.
Well, I think you'll make it.
It may be one bottle of Cristal less the next time you take your cruise.
Oh well.
Whoa. Life is so hard, and good help is so hard to find these days. I don't know what we'll do. What is this country coming to? Everything seems broken. Anyway. As well, today, even though many conservatives will claim up and down, or actually yesterday probably, sorry, not today, will claim that they never received it, Canadians did get their carbon rebate yesterday.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't get mine yet. I'm having trouble trying to file my taxes right now because you know how you have to like a CRA login password thingy there. So I had to re-up and get another one because mine had expired. So I got to wait 4 or 5 days to get something in the mail to use so I can log in, have full access to my account so I can file, and then I'll get my money.
Mm-hmm.
Bit of a pain in the...
Yeah. Yep, indeed. So... in Saskatchewan, however, if you happen to be living there, you might want to enjoy this one because that might be the last carbon rebate you're going to get. Thanks to your premier, Scott Moe, who has been charging you a carbon tax since 2019, but only told you about it a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
And has been charging you carbon tax on electricity all throughout 2023, but you only found out a couple of days ago. Anyway, there is a possibility that the federal government may decide to be magnanimous enough to do a calculation of what your carbon rebate should be, minus the stuff that Mo is not collecting it on anymore, because you are paying a little bit of it for the parts of it that's embedded in the rest of the products. So maybe the federal government will come up with a calculation. Maybe you will get a check again, but it'll be way, way smaller than the $255 per person or somewhere around there. That you're per quarter that you're getting now. So, yeah, not sure. Anyway, if you're from Saskatchewan, and let us know how it is that will be working for you over time. Not great. And oddly enough, when it comes to that type of thing, sorry, I'm just going a little bit of a side here, but yesterday, Premier Scott Moe actually put this out. And some guy from Saskatchewan who's named Eric Bell said, "Why are wait times double the Canadian average in Saskatchewan?" Minister shrugs. I'll blow this up a little bit, but here we go. It's a little thing right here for knee replacement wait times, and you got numbers from all over Canada. It's 156 days in BC. Oops, sorry, I thought it was on pause.
No.
So it's 156 days in BC, 188 days in Alberta, 215 in Manitoba, 161 in Canada on average, but in Saskatchewan it's 318 days. So yeah,
That's brutal.
Not really good whatsoever. And then yesterday as well, the Premier of Saskatchewan put out something saying that, well, there's no place in Canada where buying a home is more affordable than in Saskatchewan. And then again, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, buddy boy, you just spent like the last year crisscrossing the country and going to every media you can, telling us how everything was unaffordable in Saskatchewan, that it was all Trudeau's fault. And then in the next breath, you say, hey, everybody, you're looking for a cheap place to live. There's no place more affordable than Saskatchewan. So which one is it, buddy? Are you patting yourself on the back because life is so affordable in Saskatchewan, or is life so unaffordable because of Trudeau? Everybody's about to go to hell in a handbasket because your message is just a tad inconsistent, my friend. Just so you know. However, the budget. A lot of people are saying that they don't know what's left to be read because there's been so many announcements, close to $40 billion of announcements. About 20 billions of that is loans, or maybe it's $20 billion in loans plus $40 billion in announcements. But a lot of people are obviously saying because of all those announcements, there will have to be some tax increases to cover that somehow. And that's been being telegraphed for quite a while. That there would be. So you'll get the normal screaming and crying. Oh, what about the rich people? And that'll hopefully die down very quickly. Of course, all the conservatives and most of the media is going to start looking at the top line numbers and looking what the deficit is, and the debt repayment and all that kind of stuff, and how soon till we get back to balance and all that kind of stuff. And that's all very nice, but I mean, if we're being totally honest, that's pretty much a mindless and useless discussion. I mean, you need to send signals to the international community that you've got some targets and that you've got some guardrails and that type of stuff. And there is a sandbox that has limits to which you're playing. You got to see in which you're playing. You got to send those signals. But when the Prime Minister came into office, he had promised that within 4 years the budget would be balanced, even though he was going to spend a little more on deficits than he had originally said. And, then life happens. Then came Trump. Then came China. Then came climate disasters. Then came Ukraine. Then came COVID. Right? So I know a lot of people like to buy into that, particularly in the press, especially the breathless press. So, oh my God, there's no plan to get us to budget. And it's like, anybody who's giving you numbers 10 years, 20 years down the road, even 5 years down the road, there's so many things that can happen. Like, hey, we're doing a home renovation project over here. We had budgeted a certain amount. We took off some aluminum siding. Oh, guess what? You got some asbestos. There's another $9,000 to $12,000 that you didn't plan. Because, and considering that our entire renovation budget to go green was about $50,000, an extra 12 is a pretty big chunk.
That's a lot of money.
Right? Thanks. Well, if we have to get it abated this year, we have to pay it this year. It goes on our books this year. If we were presenting a budget at the end of the year, like how we did this year, when the year's done, our budget would be blown. Because it's like both of us, we don't live an uncomfortable life. But both our salaries combined, $12,000 is still over 10% of both our salaries combined pre-taxes. That's it's hard to cut over 10% of everything else over the course of a year to make sure that your budget balances when you get an unexpected thing, right? So,
well, and a household budget too is I love how they like to compare the budget for the country to a household budget. It's like, no, that's not how it works.
It's not how it works, but in certain ways you can make some parallels. I mean,
you
always have to understand that with the federal government, with your household budget, you have a life expectancy. A nation doesn't necessarily have a life expectancy, right? No. How many of us are 150 something years old?
I don't.
But Canada is. So Canada can go out and get a loan when it's 150 and says, "Hey, don't worry, I'll pay it back to you when I'm 202, and the bank will be okay."
Yeah,
if I go to the bank
and say,
money. Yeah, if I go to the bank and I say, "Hey, lend me this money now, I'll pay it back to you when I'm 202," they'll look at me and they'll laugh me out of the bank because I'm not going to reach 202. Right? I'll reach 112 though because I'm just stubborn, but I won't reach 200.
200 is a stretch. That's a bit of a stretch.
So, but in terms of balancing, in terms of cash flow over the course of the year, or balancing a budget over a year, then yeah, that is somewhat, similar. Like this, you have a tree falls on your house. All of a sudden, you have to do something. Whoops! Suddenly, killer pandemic. Whoops! We need to do something. It blows a budget. It blows a forecast. It blows, right? So all this happens. So you look at those. I always say, look at those numbers to get a general sense, but don't invest yourself in that. A number that's 4 years down the road and whatnot, because so many things can happen in the life of a nation. That's more for guidance, right?
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of the reporting likes to focus on that number. Oh my God, I can't believe they died. Please,
settle down.
Let's calm down. All right.
Hold your horses.
In my lifetime, right? And this is a thing that happened yesterday. Jamil Giovanni,
yes,
of course, put out something, and I responded to it. And I don't typically have things that go viral all that often, but every now and then something does. I mean, now for me, this is viral. I mean, I know viral's in the millions for me when I write something, because this is Canada and it's politics, and so it's a smaller market like this, and it's not like I'm as known as Charles Adler or anything yet. So I have a somewhat limited following. So when I tweet something and it gets about it crosses like 30,000 impressions, that's pretty big. For me, typically that doesn't happen. There's a lot of things I tweet sometimes I think are brilliant and they don't even hit the 1,000. So
yeah, I know, it's funny how it's what hits and what doesn't is just anybody's guess.
Right. That's why you don't try to write to try to make something hit, because it just, you never know. Sometimes I just write, I like cake, and boom, it's all, oh, wow, 17,000 impressions. It's like, oh, great.
Like, how the heck did that happen?
Yeah. So Pierre Poilievre, well, I'm not going to play the video, but it was his detonation series, his episode 2 thing. I'll just put it on the screen here so that you can show Mr. Grizzly. But this is how Pierre, exploding debts and how we can rescue Canada from them. And as soon as you press play, like this, you see money, detonation, and then all of a sudden people throwing Molotov cocktails in the streets and fires, and like, what the fuck?
Scare tactics.
Yeah, exactly. If you listen to that with your sound off, you're thinking like, what the hell? And Jamil Giovanni goes, Trudeau's next federal budget is due tomorrow. He wants millennials to think he has our best interests in mind, but the federal debt Trudeau is racking up is being passed on to my generation. My generation. There is hope. We need to elect a new Prime Minister, Pierre Poilievre. Okay, number one. Number one. Have you seen how much this guy spends?
Yeah.
Pierre Poilievre?
Yeah.
Right. The National Post literally just put out an article, I think it was on, and this one was really disingenuous, on April 12th, going, first reading, Jagmeet Singh is Canada's most expensive MP. Pierre Poilievre is the cheapest.
That's a total lie. We know that's a total lie.
Yes, because they're talking about
utter total lie.
Because they're looking only at the constituency office. So they go, Singh expensed more than $500,000 over 9 months to run his constituency office. Poilievre charged $143,201. That's the headline. But if you keep going down into the article, this is National Post. Now, they do say it. They do say it, but it's not the headline, but they bury it. But when they're talking about, roughly 2 dozen MPs, from the Prime Minister to the Speaker to the party whips, are given budgets in addition to what they're allowed to expense as MPs. And it's in these figures that Poilievre pulls way ahead of Singh. Yeah, I think you would have made that the headline of the article now, wouldn't you?
No, because they're relying on people not reading the whole story.
Yes. In the last 3 months of 2023, it cost taxpayers around $1.1 million to pay Poilievre's expenses as leader of the official opposition, and another $35,000 to pay for the upkeep of Stornoway. And of course, there's this other meme going around that shows that Pierre Poilievre's Stornoway budget has expensed like God knows how much in cleaning products.
Yeah.
Cleaning
remember
products.
$17,000 water bill?
Yeah. I don't know what type of mess they're doing out there to have that much of a bill when it comes to cleaning products. But maybe some of those should come out of your own pocket if you're making that much of a mess.
Excessive.
Well, either they're slobs Or cleaning products, skippy air quotes, is code for something else?
It's a good question,
Because I don't know. I don't know. I do not know any house that needs to spend that much money on cleaning products.
Unless you have like a pack of dogs living in the house. Maybe.
Yeah. Now, I mean,
don't
I
think
know
that's
it's
the
a
case.
I know it's a 19-room house.
Is it 19? I thought it was less than that.
No, it's a
I keep
19-room
hearing
mansion.
it. It is 19?
But it's-
Okay.
Yeah, but it's only he and his wife.
Yeah. Well, and
A
his two
couple of
children.
kids. Yes, yeah. But it's like,
Infants. They're
I'm sure they're
babies.
not.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm sure they're not using all 19 rooms.
Unless they're running a grow up. Oh, no, you don't need to do that. It's legal now, right? Yeah. I wasn't even suggesting that. That was a joke. It's called sarcasm, people. Settle down. Settle down. Actually, if anybody could use to get a little bit of cannabis in their system, I think it's Pierre Poilievre. Might chill him out a little bit.
So Pierre spends like a drunken sailor on self-promotion. All right. So that's his personal track record. He spends more than the prime minister. He spends more than Mr. Singh by a lot. So Giovanni is going, Trudeau is racking up so much debt and is passing it on to your generation. Well, Jamil, I'm not sure how old you are, but I am the future generation to whom Brian Mulroney, $314 billion, Mike Harris, $42 billion, and Stephen Harper, $127 billion, passed down massive debt.
Yeah.
None of them handled a killer pandemic. None of them had the entire world shut down. Yeah. Yes, Stephen Harper dealt with the financial economic crisis in 2008 because of mortgages and all that kind of stuff. But the pandemic made that one look like a walk in the park. And this guy and Stephen Harper, if you remember correctly, didn't exactly really excellently manage us out of this because I believe he cut down stimulus way too quickly, thus sending us into a second minor recession.
Mm-hmm.
I believe he might have been the only leader of a G7 nation to have provoked their country to go into a second recession in 2000. So he wasn't that good. Correct. Yes, he got us through it, but he got us through it. But let's remember as well that right before the crisis hit, I believe he was trying to deregulate our banks and our insurance companies, which would have made things way much worse. And that actually crisis in 2008, oddly enough, ironically for Canada, as bad as it was, made it so that we dodged a bullet.
Yeah.
That which Harper had planned for us, which would have made things way worse. So, well, Harper had that. Yeah, Harper had that. He gets credit for sort of navigating sort of us through it.
For a trained, educated economist, he's really bad at doing the economy.
He was terribly bad at doing the economy. That's why they kept on saying all that. It's like when you go to a restaurant and the restaurant's called Good Food.
Yes.
Don't eat there. They're trying too damn hard.
Yeah. It's rarely ever good.
If you have to say it. But he's a trained economist. Well, what was he trained to do as an economist? Because it certainly wasn't to run the economy.
Go to a restaurant that says food and good times. Not good food, but food and good times.
Yes.
Food and good times.
Food and good times.
Is the food good? No, but we do have it. We do have food.
We do have food. And I do not know why my camera just went fuzzy again for some reason. That's really weird, because this time I did not come close to it.
No.
It just went on me. So yeah. I put all those things, and then people turn around and says, oh yeah, nice move conflating provincial and federal. There's one taxpayer.
Yeah.
That's what they keep on telling us, right?
Both of them. Yeah.
So whether it's a federal government or my provincial government that has racked up the debt,
I still got to pay it.
So yes, I'm adding them both. So $314 billion, Brian Mulroney, Mike Harris, $42 billion. And Mike Harris also cut off all the grants for colleges and university just as I was starting. So I was among the first generation that graduated with $27,000 of student debt. Thank you, conservatives. And Stephen Harper, $127 billion. None of them handled a global killer pandemic. So please, Mr. Giovanni, do not piss on my leg and tell me that the PPCPC legacy is going to be any different, especially when you consider that your current leader spends like a drunken sailor on shore leave.
Oh, yeah.
And Canadian conservative Twitter had a meltdown.
Of course they did. Of course they did.
Had a meltdown. All you're doing is blaming Tories. No, I think actually what I did is I had a conversation with a conservative about the conservative track record, because this conservative was promising me that the next conservative is going to do something that every other conservative that has governed under whom I've lived in my entire life has never been able to do. Sorry if I'm a little skeptical. And that's not blaming Tories. That's saying, dude, here's your track record. Yeah, I haven't done it once in my lifetime. And there hasn't been a federal conservative government that has left Canada in a surplus. Everybody goes around, oh, well, Harper did. No. A surplus has to be structural, not just on paper. Yes, he fire-saled. He sold GM shares at fire sale prices in order to create the illusion of a balanced budget. But if you have to fire sell assets in order to balance your budget isn't balanced. At least not structurally, it isn't. And then you got to remember that Stephen Harper got to that balanced budget not only by selling the GM shares, but for a couple of years after 2008, making these grandiose announcements that he was going to spend this money on something. And then after he made the announcement, tapping the people responsible for the spending on the shoulder, going, if you could not spend all of that or any of it, that would be great. So at the end of the year, I could tell people, oh my God, look at what a good financial manager I am. Thus creating a structural deficit in all the programs. Right? If you tell veterans, hey, I'm going to send a $400 million your way, and they said, I just released $200 million of that. Well, you just created a $200 million hole while creating expectations that money would be spent. You just created a structural deficit in your program. So when people say, oh, well, Trudeau came in and he promised he would only have small deficits, but he had to have bigger ones. Yeah, because there were structural deficits in programs that accumulated over 3 or 4 years. All of a sudden, you got into government and says, holy crap, this program has been starved. We need to find more money.
Kind of how it goes, right?
When you decide that you're not going to spend some money on something on which you absolutely need to spend money, and you delay that, you make it cost more.
A lot more.
Later. That's how Harper screwed us. Over and over and over and over again.
Say more than once.
Yeah. So when you get this, oh, that's so cute, Lola.
Lola got dressed up too.
Yay. So yes, when you look at the top line numbers, don't panic. What you want to get is a sense that there is some type of discipline. So you'll and like I mentioned yesterday, you'll probably want to see at least a deficit number that does not go up. You'll want to see some projections for it going down. I don't know if the budget will present any time that we're going to reach balance. That's clearly not important. A lot of people will make a big deal of that. If that's all they're saying, it's like, oh my God, they're taxing the wealthy. It's going to destroy everything. And there's no plan to get the thing into bud balance. It means it's a good budget. Because that's pretty much the boilerplate statement that you say when you got nothing else, really. So, and there's going to probably be a lot of things. So, oh, wow, the kids are going to hate this. This is not the typical thing, right? This is not going to work. So, you'll get that type of stuff. But let's wait, because it seems that the federal government is indicating that despite 2.5 weeks of wall-to-wall announcements, there is still even more new stuff in the budget that they have not mentioned.
Yeah,
I can't wait to say what it is.
Yeah, I really am eager to hear it. I do want to know what they plan on doing. We could speculate a million things, other than the only thing that I've really heard is that the wealthy will be paying more. How much, I don't know. Is it a fair share? I don't know. I don't know any of that. I'm not wealthy, so I think the wealthy folks that may pay a little bit more in tax are still going to be okay. They'll bitch and complain nonstop. Do you know how much money I paid in tax last year? Yeah, that's triple what I earned. You're not getting sympathy from me. It's triple what I earned. I'm sorry. I don't see how I can be passionate or compassionate or empathetic when you paid 3 times the amount of tax that I earn in a year.
Mhm. I'm so sorry you made so much money
Yeah.
that
I think you're doing okay. You're not skipping meals because you have to.
I know this.
You know
this
who
is,
you are.
I know this is very hard for you.
Yes, it's very difficult for you.
Yes.
We want safer streets. We want to stop the crime. Okay. It's going to cost money. How do
But
you
I don't
think
want to
we're going
pay
to
for
do it?
that.
Sorry, not how it works. Not how it works. You want the service? You got to pay. And it's not a pay-per-use service. It's a pay in your taxes service.
Yes.
So that everybody in your neighborhood benefits.
Yeah, Canadians, especially on the conservative side of the ledger, I'm not sure if you've noticed, but the lifestyle into which we've grown accustomed actually costs money.
Yeah.
Paved roads, indoor plumbing,
Little things like that.
those little comforts, traffic lights. It's, I don't know about you, but when I'm a passenger in the car, I love not being T-boned at intersections.
I'm a fan of that. Yeah.
I'm a fan of that. Traffic lights. Yeah. So they go, I never get anything for my tax dollars. So yeah, every time you go to a intersection, you don't get T-boned. That's your tax dollars at work, buddy. Every time you flush, it goes down. That's your tax dollars at work, buddy.
Yeah. And that's your municipal taxes. That's municipal.
Yes. It's like, I never get anything for my taxes. Oh, God. Dude, you're soft. You've gone way soft.
Yeah.
So, yes, unlike a lot of people in Canada, I'm quite happy to pay my taxes because I know I get a lot more than I put in. And if you are a rational thinking person, you probably know that too. Because I'm sure many of us aren't willing to plow the entire street in front of where we live in order to get out. We kind of think it's a good idea to pull all our money together and pay someone to do that. Oh, that damn socialism. Ooh. Imagine the gall of people putting their money together in order to do things collectively that they couldn't do on their own.
Well,
what kind of insanity is that?
You look at the Nordic countries, Norway, Sweden, Finland, Denmark, where they have very high taxes. And if you ask a citizen of one of those countries, how do they feel about the tax? They're all very happy and proud to pay them. And the wealthy pay their fair share in those countries too. And they don't have a problem with it because it benefits everybody because they believe in community. They believe in helping their friends, family, and others, give them a bit of a lift up so that they don't suffer.
And I think you used the right word there. I think a lot of people of the negative type, the anti-everythings, they tend to confuse the word communism with community.
There's a difference. There's a difference. There is a difference.
Oh, man. All right. So we're going to wait for this budget. It's going to be interesting. We all, like I said, there were rental measures already announced. There are housing measures. Sean Fraser announced the other day a whole suite of stuff with regard to housing, which we haven't had time to go into yet, actually. But that one is, according to Liberal claims, take them with a grain of salt, but is set to a plan that would create, I think, was 3.9 million housing units of some kind. I'm guessing that is houses and apartments combined by 2030.
I would think that
and maybe
MDUs
student
would
residents
be a big
and
part
stuff
of
like
that.
Pardon?
MDUs, multiple dwelling units,
yes,
like apartment complexes, things like that. That will be a big part of it because that can be built much quicker than single-family homes. They're not talking single-family homes. Sure, strawberry box. Sure, post-war type housing will be part of it. Absolutely, but it's going to be more MDUs than anything else. So apartment buildings, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep.
And they're like, well, you'll have to do this many per month to make that goal achievable by this day. And I go, yeah. So they're
not like we haven't done before.
Creating construction jobs. And yeah, we've done it before.
Look, nobody is reinventing the wheel here.
No, this is not new. Now, you know what we're going to need to build these homes, though? Skilled tradespeople. We don't have enough of them.
That we may not have enough of.
We don't. We simply don't. So we're going to have to create them and import them from other parts of the world. Simple as that.
Yep, indeed. Mr. Grizzly, do we have a show?
We do indeed, sir.
All right, so kits and cubs, that's the end of this episode of the Daily Beaver Morning Show, Budget Edition. We hope that you love listening to us because we love making this for you. Of course, sharing is caring, right? And word of mouth is priceless. You would agree? And you have mouths. You would agree? So please tell your peeps and poops all about us. If you would like to make sure you do not miss an episode, thanks to the Ray Girl, you don't have to. That QR code that just appeared beneath my chin brings you to our pod page. That's podpage.com/The True North Eager Beaver, lowercase letters with a hyphen between each one of those words. And if you go there and click subscribe, when we have something fresh off the bandwidth, it comes directly to you. And if you'd like to help us in any other way, well then, you can make like Kit Elaine and go to our True North Eager Beaver YouTube page and click like, share, and subscribe. There you are, Elaine, right on time. Smash that button before you leave. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And if you would like to help us in other ways, and thank you to the kits yesterday who did send us a little something to the Eager Beaver Lodge Emergency Hydration Fund. Very generous and of you. Thank you very much. I don't have the thing brought up, so I can't give you personal thanks at the moment, but I will do it. Yes, you know I always do eventually. But thank you for that. And if you would like to help us by following their lead and making some donations to the Emergency Hydration Fund, the QR code that to which Mr. Grizzly is pointing right now brings you to our coffee page. That's coffee, ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver, lowercase letters, all in one word. And therefore, you will find, not therefore, but there you will find our tip jar. And if you want to make a little contribution there, we very, very, very much appreciate that. Of course, everything goes back into the show. And we hope that you love and appreciate it because we work very hard. And it's a labor of love, though, however, to bring this to you. Let's see, what else do we have? Yes. Because democracy is something that you do, please do write those letters. And if you happen to be living in the province of Alberta and would like to vote in the Alberta NDP leadership race, you have until the 22nd of this month to make sure that you acquire your membership in order to be able to do that. So please do so, because democracy is not a spectator sport. And as we keep on telling you on the show, party leadership races and nomination races is actually where the democracy is really at. That's where you need to get involved. If you want better candidates, that's where you need to show up and vote. Not only on the generals. All right? And when I say generals, I mean general election days, federal and provincial. All right. I believe that is everything. So from the Beaver Lodge, this is your Eager Beaver saying it could be a tough world out there. So please be kind to and gentle with yourself. Mr. Grizzly, some words of wisdom, please.
The words of wisdom today, I think, we're going to come from Stormy Daniels. I'm going to put it on the screen here.
Yes! I love her.
So now he doesn't like handcuffs? And from Theo Moudakis, his cartoon, his political cartoon that will appear in today's Toronto Star, putting it on the screen right now. And it's a picture of Jagmeet Singh with an NDP Axe the Tax orange t-shirt. It's that says, sometimes you got to go with the flow.
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't even get to that yet on the show with NDP major flip-flop. Huge flip-flop.
Like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, thanks for reminding me. I need to make a note of that because I need to talk about that on the show because, it took a space of 48 hours for Jagmeet Singh. Well, actually, it was a double flip-flop because as a position against, well, not against, I guess, but siding with the Conservatives was the first flip-flop, and then I guess he got an earful because 2 years later he flip-flopped again.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yes. All right. We will, Mr. Grizzly, I will ask you to cue the cock, and I'll come back with. You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors. The Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community. And The Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. We are grateful to the Crier Media Network for its support, Pete Jarvis for our artwork, and Paul Joseph Something for our opening and closing sequence music. Sorry, my mouth was full. Kids. Before we leave, yesterday was the first day. Sorry, I might have to need a slight change in chapeau.
Oh, okay. Gotta hurry, I'm late.
All right. First day of Trump trial. He's complaining, whining, I can't go to the Supreme Court. I can't go to my son's graduation, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Welcome to consequence culture, motherfucker. So 34 felony counts for allegedly falsifying bookkeeping and accounting records related to payments made to Stormy Daniels. Case was filed by DA from New York, Alvin Bragg. He will contend that action started in October 2016, shortly after the leak of the now infamous Access Hollywood grabber by the Kit Kat video, that Michael Cohen, his former fixer, paid Stephanie Clifford, aka Stormy Daniels, $130,000 US prior to the 2016 election in an attempt to interfere with the election so that she would keep quiet about an affair she had with Donald Trump, who was married at the time to his wife, who I believe was pregnant or had just delivered or something. I don't remember exactly. Yes. Here's the thing, little known fact. Trump, he says that this was to save himself embarrassment with Melania. That's not actually true because he instructed Michael Cohen to actually delay making the payment to Clifford as much as he could. Hopefully it would happen after the election. And if it happened after the election, he was planning to stiff her again.
Of course.
Yes. So this was not about Melania's feelings. We also remember that a chunk of money was given to Karen McDougal, who was a former Playboy playmate, and to a doorman who was circulating a very salacious story about Trump at the time. So they tried to make all of those go away as well. The DA intends to show that there are emails depicting rising panic in the Trump camp because Daniels would be living proof that Trump was not only doing locker room talk, as he said after the video came out. I
gotta go, dude. Like I'm late. I gotta go. Sorry.
All right.
We gotta go. I gotta go. Like I am late. I'll see you guys later.